Hi, guys. Henry Horror here. With me, as always, is my co host, Mr. Jonny Noize.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Tonight we have a really special guest on our show. Uh, Henry is he's been at it again. He's been finding all these great people to come and sit down and chat with us. Uh, and I'll let Henry handle the introductions, if you would,
Guys,
Mr. Henry.
guys, we are honored to have with us today one of the stars of the 1974 original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Mr. Allen Danziger. Thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
being on our show.
Thank you.
So um, again, thanks so much for doing this and for letting us sit down and kind of talk with you. Um, what um, what led you to get into acting? You know, like from the very beginning. So okay, I'm gonna try and get into acting. What was the
Well,
catalyst for that?
the thing is, I really wasn't trying to get into acting, and I never took any drama lessons. It's just kind of a circuitous route how this whole thing began because actually my background was in social work. I came to Texas after graduating from City College uh, in '60, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And a fellow that I saw me at the library at City College, and he said, "Alan, why so glum?" And I said, "I don't know what I want to do with my life." He said, "Well, why don't you go to Texas?" And I said, "Well, I don't know how to ride a horse. I've never been in a posse. You know, I don't know what's going to happen." But he said, "Hey, they've got a new psychology department down there, and it's not that hard to get into." So lo and behold, I applied. I was accepted, and so came to Texas and ended up getting really a master's degree in psychology, social psychology, and a
Wow.
master's in social work. And as I was doing social work, I met a couple that were volunteering with me, and the name was David and Amy, and they were kind of soon to get married. And Toby Hooper's first movie was a movie called Eggshells, and because they were doing stuff with me, they asked if they could come and film a scene with me, visiting with David and Amy, and I said fine. And so that's what started the ball rolling. And at the time, I was married, and my son really is in it. He's like 8 months old. I have a parrot also that's in the was in the movie. And so we shot the scene, and they kind of, I guess they liked me. They thought I was funny, and so they kept adding scenes for me to do. And my wife at the time, actually, I think, made the dress or did something with the dress that Amy wore, in the movie when they get married. It's really a sweet movie. Unfortunately, nobody saw that movie, and
Right.
it's kind of like a. I think you could see it now somewhere on on Tubi or on someplace, and it's kind of a hippy dippy, psychedelic type of thing,
Oh
but
wow.
it's very well shot, and you can see the genius of Toby, in that early film, the techniques that he used, and so when the movie came out, unfortunately, it got also tangled up in legal stuff, which is what happened with Chainsaw. So
Mm.
I'm kind of
Wow.
snake bit
Yeah.
in some ways. But anyway, the movie came out. Nobody saw the movie, and then I didn't hear from them. Then, like 4 years later, I get a call. I don't even remember if it was from Toby or Kim, who actually wrote the movie, and they said, "Alan, we wrote this movie. We have a part that we'd like you to play." And so it was like, a wiseacre kind of guy. And so I took the script. I went home. I read it. I was mesmerized, and I said, "I got nothing to lose." And so
Right. Right.
that's how it happened.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
awesome. Yeah,
So
that,
it was kind of a circumstantial thing. You know, one thing led
Yeah,
to another,
yeah,
led to
yeah. I
another,
mean,
led to
I
another.
mean, the
You
other
know.
people took, they took lessons. They wanted to be, I mean, thespians, but
Right.
that didn't work for me. And if you see some of the reviews of the movie, you'll see why. I mean, one guy referred to me as this 30-year-old disco stew looking dude, and I didn't know what he was talking about. I said, "Who's Disco Stew?" It turns out it was a character from The Simpsons.
Oh
So
no,
Yep.
no, no.
so go figure.
And-
I
and-
became a meme overnight. You know what are you gonna
yeah,
do?
yeah. It had to have been the shirt. That's
Well,
and
I mean, and that's
the
another
hair and the
interesting
whole.
story. That
Yeah,
shirt that I wore in I mean, it was all my own stuff. You know, the
yeah, yeah.
shirt, the glasses, the bell bottoms, uh,
Oh my God.
the rimless glasses. But the shirt was really my favorite shirt. I love that shirt. And for one of the shots, that's a long shot. They asked to borrow my shirt for a long shot where you don't see who's wearing it. And at the time it was a fellow by the name of Ron Bozeman, who was like the production manager, who went on to win an Academy Award for Silence of the Lambs and some other stuff. But
Wow,
anyway,
wow.
he borrowed that shirt. I never got that shirt back.
Oh, oh
And
my.
so for 50 years I hated this guy, you know. And then I met him, and we're all older. I just let it go. He doesn't
Oh
remember.
my God.
He doesn't remember a lot of stuff, but he didn't remember what happened to the shirt. But
Wow,
a
wow.
fan by the name of David Munoz, really nice guy out of Dallas, he found a similar type of pattern, and so he had a shirt made for me or sent me the material on
What?
it. So for some big deals, I wear that shirt occasionally. Bring
Oh,
back that
that's
Right,
shirt.
right.
cool.
That's wild. That is
Crazy
wild.
story, no?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's an amazing
exactly.
story. It's a pretty amazing story.
It's like how shirt will travel.
Yeah, like Paladin. Yeah.
Like Paladin. Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow.
We we
Henry,
used to we used to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre religiously, like especially with my friends as we were growing up when we were like 15. I had seen it way before that, but when we were 15 and 16, I met these two other guys that were just into as much into the movie as I was, and we would do this little thing where we'd sit around just being bored, and my friend Brent would say a line from the movie as one of the characters, and he would do Franklin real good. So
Mm-hmm.
he'd say something like, "This heat's just driving me crazy. I don't know if I can take much more of this." And my friend would say something else, like he would do William Vale, "Hey man, put that knife up." And then when it came to me, my line was, "That's the last goddamn hitchhiker I ever pick up."
But most of those lines are my own lines because the stuff that they gave me, I said I can't say this. So they said, "Well, just do your thing, Alan." And
oh
fortunately,
wow.
the lines where I say, "He knows where you live." I mean, I even gave him your zip code. He's going to get you.
Wow.
Or when I go into that store and I say, "You think this place has room service?" Those really are my own lines, and fortunately, they worked. They worked in the movie because a lot of fans remember that line and or remember the lines, and I get a kick out of it.
So during the process of filming, they gave you a certain autonomy to add your own kind of ad
Oh
lib a
yeah,
little bit, or
yeah. I mean,
okay, yeah.
they were stoned for a good part of that movie, and so there was constantly, rewriting and rewriting and rewriting, and so, I think everybody, did their own things. I mean, there was a structure and there were lines, but I mean, I just changed lines because I said, doesn't sound right coming from me this way, and so,
Right. So it
you
wasn't
know,
flowing in
yeah,
your it
yeah.
wasn't
So
flowing correctly, so you
yeah,
changed it. Wow.
yeah, they went with it, and it worked out. I mean. It's a
Wow.
classic now. When this
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
when this movie came out, I like I said, I grew up in the Bronx, and I used to take the D train home from City College, and I read this guy that did the reviews of the movie. His name was Archer Winston, and he would give stars to the movie. You got two
Okay, yeah.
stars, three stars.
Right.
When Chainsaw came out, he said it owed stars. That's how much he hated this movie.
Oh my
He
God.
he's gone. He's gone. The
He's
movie's a
gone.
classic. Quentin Tarantino said it's a perfect movie. So there you go.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. That's
It's
so
just,
well, I think you take like movies like Chainsaw, or with the Leatherface and stuff, but you look at also how bad like the Rocky Horror Picture Show was. Okay,
Hmm.
if you sat at home and just watch that movie. It's like the worst thing ever. But it became such a thing. Like when I was
Mhm.
growing up, uh, it just exploded because it was interactive. They made it into this interactive thing,
Right,
and
right.
so and I'm originally from Jersey, by the way. So I
Mhm.
was in New York a lot with
Yeah,
I was in different bands and stuff. But we would go see the Rocky Horror Show like once a week. It was like a tradition, and that's what
yeah,
happened. Like that's with this movie as well. It happens. I think Jaws 2. The original Jaws was quote unquote, a flop, and look what happened to that movie.
right,
It just
right.
becomes this thing where even the actors in the movie were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is so bad," and uh, and it just becomes this. Uh, it gets such a following where it lives on forever.
Oh,
Just like
well, yeah,
this
yeah,
movie
I
that
mean,
you're in.
yeah. In fact, I've told the story several times where after one time Toby called me in to look at the rushes, of the movie, and so I did, and he said, "Alan, what do you think I could do, to improve anything, improve the movie?" I said, "Have the seats facing away from the screen." And he didn't like that. He didn't like that at all, and he
That's
never called me
great.
back. But that tells you what did I
That's
know, you
great.
know?
Right, right. Oh my God, that's funny. I know Henry's like an aficionado when we do stuff like that. He has the facts and he knows, a lot of stuff about, more of the intricate stuff about all kinds of movies and stuff. And he's a big fan of this. So I'm
Mhm.
going to let him kind of roll with a few questions directly
Bring it
related to the
on,
movie.
bring it on.
Bring it on, bring it
All right,
on.
all right. Here we go.
Yes.
One thing before I bring on my next question. This is an actual fact. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre played in the drive-in theaters for years. My parents, one of their first dates in '76, my dad took my mother to the Mission 4 Drive-In here in San Antonio and saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on their second or third date. So
Really? And
that's
and she
pretty
married
cool.
him? And she married him.
And she
Wow.
married him.
And
Yeah.
she married him. So, but so um, the scenes where you're driving in the van. And now these conditions look grueling because everybody sweating in that van just looks. It looks real. I don't think there's
It
anything
is.
fake. But
It doesn't look real. It is real. I mean,
yeah.
it was brutal. Texas heat was like 100 degrees. The windows rolled up. The Toby's in there. Sometimes I think smoking a cigar. I mean, it was just
Oh my
it,
God.
it was brutal. It was brutal. But it's the fact that it looked that way is made it even more realistic. So people to this day think it's really happened. So even when I tell them, "Hey, it didn't happen," they said, "No, I know that it happened." I said, "I'm in the movie. It didn't happen." They don't believe. You
Oh
know.
my God.
So did those scenes in the van? Did they take a couple of days to shoot those scenes?
Um, Not really. I mean, well, different days, yeah, yeah. But I mentioned one of my favorite scenes is actually the scene at the gas station. Where we pull in and they come and say they got no gas, and that whole thing, and then this troll comes out, and starts putting soapy water
Yeah.
on the windshield. And I've told this, but I inadvertently hit the windshield wiper, and it sprayed all the soapy water down on Jim Sedow's face, and he's trying to deliver his lines. And Bill Vale Kirk, and we both lost it, and we never regained it. And so much so that Toby actually got very angry and stormed off the set. And I think Kim or somebody else had to finish, shooting that scene. But it's still one of my favorite scenes. Coming in there
Oh my
and that
God.
whole thing, and what, and then I go in there, to see if they got gas. It really is a terrific scene, actually.
One thing that people don't. I don't know if it's just because they're not really paying attention to it, but I did. But when Jim Seedow comes out and the guy's washing your windows, every time Jim Seedow walks away, the guy walks away too, and every time he
Exactly.
comes back,
Yeah,
the guy comes back to finish
I know.
washing.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
You
I mean,
boys don't want to
there's a
go.
lot of humor in this movie. There is. I mean, there's a lot
Oh,
of Keystone Cop stuff. There's all kinds of stuff.
definitely. I just love Jim Seedow. He was like the Texan, you boys don't want to go around, mess around the old house. Them
Right.
girls don't want to go. It sounds just like the
Exactly.
people that live around here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, did you going into filming the movie? Did you and the cast know, or at least have an idea about maybe how grueling the filming was going to be with
Uh,
temperatures and all that?
Not really. I think for most of this was a new venture for us. I mean, I guess you're just excited to be in a movie. And you would have done it for an egg sandwich. You know what I mean? So
Right.
uh, no, but it was grueling. I mean, and Gunnar, poor guy. I mean, he had to wear that same costume. For weeks. And actually, I got off pretty easy because I was directing a camp for kids with emotional and mental disabilities. So they really worked around my schedule. So I didn't spend any time in that house. And I mentioned in another interview, I mean, it just was rank. You know what I mean? There was the
Oh,
costumes for people wore for weeks, and rotting bones and rotting food. And I said, all the Febreze in the world couldn't take the stench out of what was going on
oh my
in
God.
that house. But they worked it out with me that I just was in that house to get killed. You know, and Gunnar years ago said, "Alan, what do you think your role was in the movie?" I said, "We were just fodder there. We were just waiting for us to get killed,
To
and
get
we just
killed.
filled up some time. That was it."
Oh my God.
That's gonna lead me into that's perfect because that's gonna lead me into my next question. Um, well, tell us about filming the scene where you see Gunnar Hansen for the first time.
Actually, the way it worked out is it was it's beautifully shot. It happens to, like, at the sun is setting and I'm walking toward the house yelling Kirk. And I said, let me just sit on the porch, and if you wouldn't mind, blindfold me, so it's going to be my real reaction, when I see him. And so I sat down on the porch, and that was like my nod to the Stanislavski method. I didn't even know what that meant, but I liked the term.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So they blindfolded me, and then time comes, they yell action, and I go in, I see all the bones and stuff like that. Then I see the hook, and then there's the freezer, and the freezer opens up, she pops out,
See,
and
yeah.
in comes Gunner. And before I mean, I'm freaking out, and I start screaming, and I run out of the house where uh Toby yells cut, comes over, puts his arm around me, said, "Alan, that's one of the best screams I've ever heard. But you got to wait for him to come into the frame, with the cudgel." So they had to shoot it several times, and finally the grips, got my belt loops from behind and pulled me down just as the hammer, hits me. And like I said, I took that shot 50 years ago. I'm still getting headaches.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm paying a heavy price for that.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
Uh,
So
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
no, you had mentioned that being blindfolded or not kind of knowing 100% about the scene is kind of an acting methodology where it catches a real like reaction to something that you are not privy to.
Exactly. In
So
fact, I'm number 8 on the old time screams when the actor didn't know what the hell was going to
what
happen
the
to
hell
him.
was going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was about to say that reaction, the look on your face, and that scream just it doesn't look like acting. Like that looked real.
It
So
was real. It was
yeah,
real.
What?
that's what I tell people. Interesting fact. One time I was calling a buddy of mine on the phone, and I was watching the movie, and I had at the time one of those big surround sound jobs,
Hmm.
and I was waiting, and his answering machine came on just as that scene was happening, and I was like, oh, like paying more attention to the movie. I forgot that I was on the phone, so I got his machine So
Mm,
that scene happened, and I just hung up since he wasn't home.
right.
He gets home a couple hours later. He calls me back. He's like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" I said, "Nothing." He goes, "Well, what is that message you left me earlier? It sounded like a damn serial killer was on the phone."
Yeah, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, well, it pretty much it pretty much was. Um, so you film the movie. You film your scenes for the movie. Um, when the movie comes out, what was it like when you saw the movie in the theater for the first time, like all complete and cut together?
Actually, that brings up a couple of stories. Well, when it was just about coming out, they had the trailer, so and it showed at what now is the Alamo Draft House, but back then it was the Village Four on Anderson Lane. So we're talking 1974. So I just went to see. Actually, am I in the movie? You never know. Could be end up on the cutting room floor. So I went in and just said, "Gee, I'm in the movie. I just like to see the coming attractions." So I sit down, and no sooner do the coming attractions come on, and I see myself, I freaked out. You see yourself for the first time on a big screen.
On the
I went
screen. Yeah.
screaming out of the theater, and
Wow.
uh, and then to make matters worse, I took my son, who was 5 at the time, to just see the coming attractions, just to see his dad, in the movie. And this is like 50 years ago, and my son is still in weekly therapy. So what does that tell you?
It's
Wow.
a creative parenting.
Yes, yeah. And then when the movie came out, my parents who were retired in Florida, which is the law if they're a certain age, and
Yeah.
they ended up seeing it in a porno theater in Florida,
Oh my God. Oh.
and it was a double feature. The second feature was Debbie Does Dialysis.
Oh
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
David, that's dialysis. That's
But
oh my
anyway, I
God.
mean, when I start to go into the house, my mom gets up in her native language, which was no language. She spoke no language. She just grunted. But she got so freaked out that they almost ushered her out of the theater. And then when they got home, they actually called me to make sure I was still alive. So
Oh my God.
yeah, really got to them.
Oh my God. That's funny.
Well,
That is.
I had heard of a story that some friends had rented a limo for you, and y'all went to go see the movie like if it was a you know like premiere
It's
type
true.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I did real well with the girls for a while, when that movie came out, because you don't have often get a chance to say, "Hey, would you like to go to a premiere with me?" So it worked out pretty well for a while.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, now, uh, they do these conventions, and especially nowadays, like you got Kings of Horror and Weekend of Horrors and that. Do you keep up with the cast members that are still with us? Because I know unfortunately, we've lost Marilyn Burns, Gunnar
You're
Hansen.
Gunner, Frank. I mean, we're like I say, we're a vanishing breed. I mean, be honest with you, I'm glad I'm still above ground at this point, because most of us are late 70s, even 80s, and we're in Geezerville now, But yeah, I do. In fact, I didn't do a Comic Con. I didn't know what they were until like 2004. And Gunner came to me, said, "Alan, they want to do a family, a reunion." And I think it was Cinema Wasteland was the first one that I did, and they'd like to have you out there. And I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. What kind of folks am I going to meeting? I thought I'd be meeting serial killers, wannabes, because I mean, who wants to go to these? And it turns out these are the nicest people you could ever imagine. They just saw us
Wow.
as fresh meat, So, but
Right.
I had the best time, and then I started doing them when it would fit into, my schedule, and so I mean, we've traveled. I mean, John Dugan, who plays Grandpa, you don't even know who he is because he's got the mask on. He traveled all over the world. And
Oh
when we
wow,
go to
yeah.
these events, it's the bad guys that are the people they want their
They
signatures.
want to see. Yeah,
They
yeah.
want Leatherface. They want Grandpa. They want the hitchhiker. They're the stars. I'm just happy that they still want to talk to us. The victims and stuff. But
The
I
victims.
mean, we were a few months ago. We were in Tokyo, and John and I
Wow.
were like the Cheech and Chong of horror. There,
Right.
and we had I had a great time, and then I would tell my stories and they would translate it into Japanese, but they laughed at the right time. So funny is funny no matter where you are. And I mean, we had a great time.
They seem to have Japanese, you know, culturally, that they have this real fixation with movies and music from America.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when people like yourself go there, or musicians, they will, the reaction from, that I've seen is tenfold. You know, because we're here in the States and we're so used to
Right.
things like this, and it was like, oh, okay, whatever. And where you have the fan base there with it, they don't have the opportunity, to meet guys like you, or meet or go to a big concert, whatever it might be. And so they're really, really over the top from what I've seen when
Oh
you
no,
go
no,
there.
you're right. In fact, I mean, we played some really small venues. We played a couple of toy stores, and
Wow,
when we got there, they gave us a standing ovation. I mean, there were no
wow,
chairs. There were no chairs, so they were standing. But an ovation
his
is still an
ovation, yeah.
Yeah,
ovation.
yeah,
You know.
Right, right. Wow, wow. That's
that's
and
awesome.
and it makes you feel good though, because they really appreciate, you
Oh,
know.
I mean, the fans are great, as you know. I mean, and the Chainsaw fans. I mean, here we are. We did this movie 50 years ago, and people
Mhm.
still wanna. They still love this movie. Quentin Tarantino referred to it as a perfect movie. They want to hear the stories. It's just, I mean, after we're gone, this movie will still be here.
Of
And so,
course.
I guess that's really very gratifying for somebody like me who basically is the kid from the Bronx. How did I end up? How did I end up in arguably the scariest movie of all time? Go! You can't make that up.
Right, right. And at this juncture, you just own it. You take it right with you. So that's really cool.
And then
You
and
know.
then actually a couple of years ago, I was just killing time. I was scrolling on a chainsaw website, and I see a van, and a fan said that looks just like the van in the movie, the chainsaw van, and there's a phone number on it. And I said, okay, just for kicks, I'll call this number. I called it, and the fellow that answered the phone, his name was Scott Key. And I just, just as a conversation, I said, "Are you by any chance related to Francis Scott Key, who wrote
Oh
the
my
Star
God.
Spangled Banner?" And he says, "Yes, I am. He was my great, 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 whatever uncle." And so that started the ball. And I said, "By any chance, do you
Oh my God.
have this van?" And he said, "Yeah, I've gotten a lot of calls, but nothing's materialized." And I said, "Well, I'm the OG. I drove the van in the movie. I think I'm going to have to get it." And so we worked the deal out. And not only that, but he trailered it to Austin, Texas, and brought it to
Oh,
me.
okay.
And then I had my mechanic, redo it. I had another company, paint it. We had to paint it twice because it wasn't the right color green. And the fans know all this stuff. And so now I
Right,
have the van, I take it to certain events, where I can bring it or trailer it and stuff like that. And the fans love it. They have a great time.
Oh, that's
wow.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen pictures of the gas station out in Bastrop, and the every time they show one of the pictures that they showed had the van there, and I think it was like a
That's not, yeah, it's
special
not the
event.
same van. It's not the
Oh, it's
same van
not.
because it doesn't have
Oh,
no,
wow.
because the van, you got to have that sliding door. They didn't have that.
Oh,
And,
wow.
Oh, wow.
oh,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
So it's just
And
a
now, unfortunately, because of some legal things, entanglements, they can't have anything really having to do with chainsaw at the gas
oh,
station now.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
At least that's what I
Oh,
heard. Yeah.
wow. Yeah, because a buddy of mine went up there. a few years ago, like maybe 2 years ago, and he came back with the shirt with the gas station on it. But I don't know.
Right.
A lot can change from
Right.
when he
And
went to
it
now.
has, yeah, it's happened in, I think, the last several months. A lot of stuff has changed.
Oh wow, what a
Yeah.
drag!
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you go to Kingsland and Hooper's there, they've embraced the movie, and and I've had really good times there, and we've had a couple of events out there, and fans have been great. It's been terrific.
Oh, that's so you having the van is like the ultimate piece of a drivable movie memorabilia. It's like
Yeah.
it's like it would be like having the Scooby Doo wagon. The
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I
And
mean?
not
It's so
only
it's
that, but I have Franklin in the van as well.
Oh wow.
oh oh my
I got the
God.
wheelchair, I got Franklin, I got it all. I even have the can that he used to eliminate fluids.
Oh
I still got that too.
oh my God.
Oh wow, man, that is
Oh yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
That is
That's
so
wild.
awesome.
I've spared no expense. No expense.
Yep. Give me that Maxwell Folgers again.
Yeah. It's a
It's
different. It's not
That's
Folgers.
wild.
It's another can. I can't pronounce it, but it's not Folgers.
oh yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I know. I
Yeah.
thought it was. I don't know. The '70s was a different time.
Yeah.
Y'all,
Yeah. Yeah.
y'all had high karate and all that.
Right.
cologne
Right.
and
Right. Right.
aftershave.
Right. Yeah.
So, um,
Jesus.
so the next question I wanted to ask is, now you have. Hopefully, this comes out. You have a movie called the Weed
Weed
Hacker
hack.
Massacre.
Weed Hacker Massacre, and it's funny because this is literally like a renaissance for me because I've got a chainsaw, a movie that I did a few years ago called Cannibal Comedian, and
Yeah.
that's got a lot of play now. And I do the voiceover at the beginning, which is like an homage to what John Larroquette did in Chainsaw, and then Ed Neal does is the voiceover at the end. So that's out. And then a documentary called My Dinner with Leatherface is also playing, I
Oh
think, on
wow.
Oh
different
wow.
channels, and I'm in that, and a lot of us are in that. And if you didn't know what kind of guy Gunner was, you learned a lot about what he was. A terrific guy. He was
Oh
really
wow.
a gentle giant, a very funny, bright guy, and we didn't know each other at all, but after the movie we became good friends. In fact, he spent the summer with me before he moved to Maine, and we became very close. And so I still, I miss him every day, and that's, life is that way. I mean, we don't get out of here alive, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nobody
that's
It's
does.
just
true. But
So that was 2022, I think, wasn't it? That when that movie came out?
which a Cannibal Comedian.
Cannibal Comedian, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think it's
and then
2022.
I met a fellow by the name of Ray Spivey, who's a big Chainsaw fan, and he met me and he said, "Alan, I'd like to write a scene for you in this movie called Storage Locker." I think that's also out now on different platforms, and so he did, and actually, I got a standing ovation. After I did my scene, I guess that I managed to get through it. But then we've gone to some different events, and I kicked around some ideas, and lo and behold, from that generated the Weed Hacker Massacre. And the catchphrase is, "Once you stop laughing, you'll start screaming." So it's a horror comedy, and it's going to premiere October the 17th, which is the Friday,
oh,
Oh
so
wow.
it's
on a
Oh.
bunch of streaming platforms, and then we're going to have a watch party here in Austin on the 16th, and we're talking about some possible contests where I might have them say why they'd want to have dinner with Chainsaw Jerry, and first prize will be a dinner with me in my van down by the river, and
Oh.
all right.
and a second prize would be two dinners with me down in my van down by the
It might be your last dinner. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah. I was gonna say Gunnar Hansen with that, that the way he played Leatherface was just something else. Because with the sequel, not to get off topic, but with the sequels, you see other actors, and not to put anybody down that's donned the mask of Leatherface, but when you watch the sequels and you watch the original, it's like
It's day and
he,
night. It's day
yeah,
and night.
it's day and
Yeah,
night,
Right.
really, really,
yeah,
because he just did. It was like when you watch that movie and you see the villains and they're all together, especially at the dinner scene. It's like, did they really get crazy people to play these guys, or because they're that
yeah,
good,
yeah, yeah,
you kind of
yeah,
get
yeah,
you
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
get lost in the movie after a while. It's like watching that you're walking into a nightmare, because you got to put yourself in that position with Sally. There's no way out of, it seems like there's no way out. Once you're in
no,
it,
no,
you're in
no.
that whirlwind. You're in that whirlwind.
And the thing is how masterful he did it, because he captures it without any words. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I won't go into it, because I feel like he really didn't get the right a fair shake. He should have been in some of those other, sequels and whatnot.
Yes,
It didn't
definitely.
happen because he really was a very intelligent. It takes intelligence to play stupid,
Hmm.
and
Right. Right.
and he was just he really was a terrific guy. And when we found out that he passed away, I mean, because we were together just a few months before he passed away,
Oh
Oh,
and
wow.
and Marilyn also. I mean, I really didn't know her, and during the movie, I kind of, in a way, thought she was a little aloof. But there's so many things going on. But later on, after we started doing some of these events, she was just the loveliest person you can imagine. She was terrific, and I really became very, very fond of her.
Oh wow. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
that's awesome.
That's nice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so
Well,
these
and
so
and
these
unfortunately
yeah.
there was no intermingling. There was no physicality. 'Cause, I mean, she was beautiful, So
Right.
I
Right.
rue that. I rue to this day that there wasn't anything going on. Now everything is, there's sexual. There's all kinds of stuff going on, but
Oh God. Yeah.
not
Yeah. You're
not
right. You're
not in the
right.
'70s. Not in the '70s.
Well, years back, I was in New Orleans, and I met Larry Hagman, and
Hmm.
so we had a motorcycle group, and we were doing this ride for this school where they had mentally challenged children. So I had to happen to be working his movie set because I was in law enforcement back then. So
Wow.
and I had asked him, the craft food service people, they stuck us all in the corner, but I had the badge and the gun, so I went anywhere. Nobody told me nothing. So and I had asked him, so I knew he rode, so if he would maybe come and ride with us, and so anyway, he agreed to do that, and we got him a bike. The Harley shop, gave him a bike so he could borrow. He had to sign it, of course. Took a bunch of pictures, all that good stuff. And he rode with us. So it's just stuff like that that people kind of go out of their way. You ask because people think, okay, you're an actor and you do this and whatever, but you're also a human. And he was so taken aback just because I asked him, would you come ride with us to go see these kids who are in this group home type thing, because of
Mm-hmm.
their condition, you know, and so I'm sure for yourself as well when you go to these, the Comic Cons and the different signings and you meet all these people that it's gratifying. Hey, you're not gonna be like, hey, don't talk to me. I'm above you, and it keep. I guess what I'm getting at kind of keeps you grounded. I would think,
Oh
that
yeah, and it's funny that
it
you
really
mentioned because
does.
a few months ago actually happened on Father's Day. There's a sparkling water company. I think they're all over now. It's called the Rambler Company, and they do sparkling water.
Uh-huh.
And and one of their spokesmen is a fellow by the name of Ricky Rackman. I don't know if you know who he is, but he
Yeah.
used to be on MTV. He was the
Headbangers
DJ.
Okay.
Ball. He was the host of
Headbangers
Headbangers
Ball.
Ball.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a motorcycle guy. In fact, he was riding his motorcycle from North Carolina through Austin and then up to Alaska, raising
Wow.
money, raising money for suicide prevention.
Oh,
and
wow.
and Chainsaw is one of his favorite movies. So the Rambler people got in touch with me and told me the story, and so they all came to my house, and
Oh, wow.
we shot some stuff, and then I went out there on Father's Day, and Ricky interviewed me, and while we were on stage, it started hailing and pouring, and we had to move everything into the bar. But then he had this really neat cake, and it was just and a lot of those people that are fans of Ricky are fans of Chainsaw. So
Right.
it was a great time. It was a great time.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Like you were saying before, like you had this attractive actress, you know, and I had to ask that of Larry as well. And he goes, yeah, I get that all the time about Barbara Eden, and he
Right.
says, but we never had any kind of relation per se,
Yeah.
and so it was like it was all just because she was really back in the day,
Knockout.
she was a
Knockout.
knockout.
Yeah.
I grew up, you had Farrah Fawcett on your wall. I mean, who didn't, back in the
Hmm.
70s and
Yeah.
80s,
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of the same thing. Here you are working either a sitcom or a movie or whatever, and people make assumptions, and it's like, no, we just worked together. Unfortunately, it didn't, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I see this, when we do these conventions, and I'm sitting at the table and they're walking by and they see this geezers, this old guy is sitting there. Some people say, and they say, "Who's this?" I said, "These are all me," you know. And if I knew I was
Wow.
going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. It's a Mickey Mantle phrase. But
Oh
but once
God.
they find out that it's me and whatnot, they just a smile comes on their face. And really, when I travel wherever I go and I'm on a plane and the uh, person next to me asked, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm going to a horror convention." A horror convention. I said, and they say, "Well, what is that? What do you do?" And once I tell them, a smile comes on their face, and they want to
Wow.
take a
Wow.
picture, show their son or their daughter or their uncle or whatever. So it's a lot of fun that a movie like this has captured, the imagination of people all over the world.
Right.
It just
Right.
it's gratifying in a lot of ways. It really is.
Oh, sure. And I'm sure, it keeps you going. It keeps you young. It keeps you moving.
Oh
All the stuff you're doing. My dad turned 87, and he was doing a theater group down in Florida.
yeah.
Uh, of course, Jersey to Florida, New York to Florida. Man, like I said, it's mandatory. You got to go. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
he acted and played concert piano his whole life. So just recently had stopped. So he goes, I think I'm 87. I think I need to stop now. And I was like, oh, okay, But it keeps him going. It gives him purpose to go do
Exactly,
this stuff.
exactly. Yeah, at this age, that people still want to talk to us or hear our stories or what it was like, and
Hmm.
it's amazing. And now, having Chainsaw and Cannibal Comedian and My Dinner with Leatherface and hopefully Weed Hacker Massacre and and I'm a producer on it. So it's Alan Danziger's Weed Hacker
Wow.
Massacre. So I want it to be well received. I don't want to go into the witness protection program by any
oh
means.
my God, that's funny.
Well, I know I'm really looking forward to that coming out. I was mistaken. I thought it had already come out, but it's not. It's not out yet.
No,
It's
no, no. There are trailers and people are asking about it. I mean, it's getting a lot of buzz and stuff like that. But officially, uh, the distributor said October the 17th, and then we're gonna have like a press release, fun party, watch party on the 16th here in Austin.
awesome.
Well,
So,
we'll be looking for that for sure.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
people want to, get memorabilia, they can go to my website, which is chainsawjerry.com. And you can
Okay.
order, mugs and chainsaw pins and T-shirts and, photos from the movie. So it's a way that I can, keep me from having to apply for food stamps. So I appreciate it.
yeah. Yep.
Wow. Like the photo stuff, is that stuff autographed or?
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
I,
Okay.
I
Okay.
autograph them. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
well, I guess
awesome.
I'll order
I
it
know.
then. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
even have my own bobblehead.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
that's
I
funny.
gotta check that out. I know.
That's
I
funny.
know.
And actually, my bobblehead is in the bobblehead Hall of Fame in Milwaukee. You know,
No.
so I'm up there with Albert Einstein, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Bernie Sanders, and a host of
Oh my
other
God.
luminaries.
Oh
I
my
There
did.
you
God.
go.
I did get this at a Halloween party, and I'm trying to. Hopefully, it'll pick up. But it's a bust of Leatherface, and it's a Christmas ornament. This is some of the memorabilia I have, along with.
I have a poster that Gunner signed, and it says, "Alan, I should have killed you first."
Oh, that's
I'll
That's
always
classic.
cherish
classic.
that. I'll
That is
cherish that
classic.
one.
That is classic. Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to watching that. And now I'm gonna have to go on and order some stuff to add to my collection. I have a
Please
whole
do.
I
Please
have a
do.
whole music, have a music studio, and I have all kinds of stuff that people have, horror related stuff all over the place, and so I just have to add to it. But that's that's really it's really good that that the fans appreciate it, and that they're showing their support, and they're still really out there,
Oh no,
wanting
no,
wanting
oh,
to do
you're right.
stuff,
In fact, at some I have Chainsaw Jerry's Killer Beef Jerky. I have my own one,
No,
and on the blade it says, "We were the meats."
we were the
That's great. I love
That
that.
is
That
awesome.
is
That is
awesome.
awesome. Oh my God.
Wow. That is
Well, we
something else.
yeah, yeah. It's certainly been a pleasure, talking to you and hearing all these great stories, and looking forward to more to come. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on still. Looks like
Yes, I
you're
do.
staying you're
Yes, I
staying
do.
quite busy,
Yeah,
which
once the
is
movie
great.
comes out, maybe we have a chance to visit and talk about Weed Hacker some more.
Yes,
We
definitely. We'd love to have you back
we would love
on
to
the
have you.
channel
Yes,
and
And
anytime.
I'll come back with with Ray Spivey, who's a terrific guy, and he wrote the movie, based on ideas that we kicked
Okay.
around. He's a terrific guy, so
oh,
it would be a lot of fun to bring
that
him on.
that would be great. We'd love
Yes.
to have you and Mr. Spivey on the show again. That sounds like
Sure.
an awesome idea.
No, but
Yes,
Awesome.
definitely.
we'll stay in touch, and
Yes.
as we get close, I'm going to Maine for a paranormal and horror convention on the 6th and 7th. I'll be in Augusta, Maine, at the Civic Center. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh wow.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, Henry does have your contact information, and
Yeah, yeah,
we would certainly
yeah.
entertain anytime you're available, or after this movie and stuff. We'll get back together and go over some stuff, and by that
That'd be
time,
great. And let me
I'll
know
have
the link when this is going to play, so I can let my fans know, that
yeah,
they can
yeah.
listen to it.
We'll let our guys know. It's we're currently on Rumble. We use that, and then of course Facebook, and then we have clips that will come up on YouTube. But Rumble seems to be a lot more user friendly. And when we go longer like this, like an hour and change, it's kind
Hmm.
of difficult to put that stuff on different forums where we're unlimited on Rumble, and it's very
Right.
easy to find. You just type out Rumble, the Inertia channel, and it comes right to it. So that's kind of our platform now. But we leave links, and
Okay.
we'll make sure you
Terrific.
have
That'd be
everything.
great. Yeah,
Henry will
I had
send
a
you all
lot
the
of fun.
stuff.
I had a lot of fun with you guys, and I hope I passed the audition.
Ah,
No, definitely, definitely.
we had a blast talking to you, and certainly it's been. I know Henry is a real super fan of my, and of course I'm into the horrors. You can see behind me all my skulls and stuff, and we just love it. We just really, really um, enjoy this whole genre. We talk about horror movies, all the time. And when he had the opportunity to have you on, it was a no-brainer. So
Yes.
uh, our doors and our cameras are wide open to you. Whenever you're available, let us know.
Well, I'm glad that this, I mean, this happened, just within a few days. So it's great. I mean, I really enjoyed the time with you guys. I like the questions and having a chance to tell, a larger audience, stories of what it was like back in the day.
Oh, that yes, and it's been our pleasure. And also, I have a channel on YouTube that's very accessible. It's called the Henry Horror Channel, and that's on YouTube. So it'll be going on YouTube as well as
Right.
Rumble, Facebook, and
Instagram.
Instagram. Pretty much all the platforms out there, and we're gonna leave links um, to everything and your website as well, so people can get their hands on some memorabilia and things like that. And
Yeah, I mean, this is all new to me. I mean, I didn't know what Instagram was, or I think we're going to start on something with TikTok. Or I mean, for the time
Right.
being, you can follow me on the bulletin board at Central Market. But that's about it.
You still do like post-it notes?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I'm a dinosaur, so this is all it's all new and stuff like that. But it's a kick. It's a kick.
Yeah, we're not super tech savvy ourselves. I mean, I'm a bit older than Henry, but we have our struggles with sometimes it's like find me a kid to get in here and fix this thing. It's like,
Exactly,
you know,
exactly. I mean,
here's $10, fix this. But
right.
yeah.
anytime, we would be our pleasure. And at that juncture, I will have my shirt and some other stuff, so I'll be better
Dynamite.
prepared. Better prepared. Yes.
Once again,
So
guys, thank you so much. Like I said, it's been a blast. I've had a wonderful time. It's been a lot of fun.
All righty,
th-
thank you, sir. All righty,
thank you again.
guys,
Take care.
we're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. We'll have more. We're looking forward to more later on. And we will see you in the next video.
We're good?
Well, hang on one second.